What goes on in this town is none of your business.
As long as I'm living here, it is.
Then maybe you shouldn't be living here!
Thorn on film. He's Thorn on film. Thorn on film. He's Thorn on film.
The year is 2014, and cinema is on one hell of a hot streak. Big franchise hits, indie darlings, and the birthplace of now widespread elevated horror. A young Thorn on film is having the time of his life, but there's one film he's excited for more than any other. "2014's The Guest" is a low-budget thriller, made for only $5 million and written by Simon Barrett in 8 weeks. It was directed by Adam Wingard and stars Dan Stevens, Micah Monroe, and the late, great Lance Reddick. At this time, people, myself included, were eagerly awaiting the mainstream film debut of Dan Stevens after his departure from the Downton Abbey TV series. What would Dan Stevens choose to follow up his cosy, harmless, and heartwarming portrayal of Matthew Crawley? Well, he found David Collins, who for all intents and purposes is a Terminator, but sexy. The Guest falls into a strange place within the thriller genre. Is it serious? Yes and no. Is it a horror movie? Yes and no. Does it take itself seriously? Yes and, well, no. Another great film it evokes for me is 2011's Cabin in the Woods, a movie that seems to embrace genre tropes before turning half of them into jokes and the other half into earnest renditions. These are movies that have their cake and eat it too. Despite the more meta-genre stuff going on, at its core The Guest is a less is more type film. It's linear, straightforward and stylish, with absolute breakneck pacing. The titular guest arrives at the Peterson household within the first 2 minutes of the movie. There is no preamble here, and what follows his arrival is a story of infiltration, betrayal, and murder. The heart of The Guest lies within a heartless man, or so it seems on the surface. The whole movie is built around the central narrative enigmas of who is this man and what does he want.
We're going to play a wonderful game called Who is My Daddy and What Does He Do?
From the beginning of production, when searching for their leading man, Wingard stated it was Dan or bust. The whole movie pivots on this enigmatic stranger, a disruptive, unblinking element, worming his way into a grieving nuclear family, like a cuckoo into an empty nest. Whilst The Guest does sprinkle in traditional horror elements, I think the most disturbing factor is entirely packaged within David himself,
Your wife seems to respect you, sir.
and the internal conflict that you can identify when analysing his character. When in pursuit of his goals, he can adapt to any situation required of him, from a beginning persona of calm and well-mannered.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
He quickly but quietly metamorphoses into exactly what each member of the Peterson family needs. A polite domestic helper for Laura, a drinking buddy for Spencer, a tough guy big brother for Luke, and a confidant/crush for Anna.
Oh my god! Wow!
For context, if you haven't seen the movie, First of all, go watch it right now, it's fantastic. The Peterson family are grieving the loss of their eldest son Caleb, killed in Afghanistan where he and David fought together as part of a Spec Ops team. The movie never really lingers on whether David fills the gap left by the family's dead son, but the seeds are all there.
We would love to have you with plenty of room, and in fact, you can stay in Caleb's old room. We insist.
A simple message delivered in earnest by a handsome, charismatic man is all it takes for David to get his foot in the door.
Miss Peterson, are you sure you're comfortable with me standing here?
Of course. I mean, it's not like it's going to any use.
So who, or what, is David Collins?
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Well, he's a psychopath. Now, this is a term that gets thrown around a lot these days, so just quickly, the Cambridge Dictionary defines a psychopath as a person who is likely to commit violent criminal acts because of a mental illness that causes the person to lack any feelings or guilt. Now, David ticks a lot of these boxes. He most certainly acts in a psychopathic way, but the real question comes from whether he was always like this or whether he was made this way. In the movie, after Anna's suspicions are raised that David might not be who he claims to be, she triggers a military investigation that finally begins to answer some of the questions that we have about David. Many of these military inserts were actually added in because test audiences didn't like the lack of detail about who or what David was. They wanted a few more questions answered. Usually, I'd hope for less exposition, but in this case it gives us a few more scenes with Lance Reddick, and many of the threads that make up David's backstory and make him a character that's worth talking about. It's revealed that the so-called David was the subject of a mysterious medical experiment performed in conjunction with the military by Lance Reddick's organisation. The details of this shadowy operation are few and far between, but again, this is a place where less is more. Genetic enhancement, super soldier serum, even supernatural powers, we simply don't know what David is, only that he escaped their facility, leaving a trail of bodies behind him, and was missing until Anna started the ball rolling on his discovery.
Called the military base that he said he was from, and they told me he was dead.
That's military intelligence for you.
There is one absolute key line about the nature of the experiment performed on David and how it may have changed him, which Reddick's Major Carver gives us here.
David has a neurological condition, Miss Peterson, designed to protect both him and the experiment. If he feels like his identity may be compromised, he's programmed to clean up all loose ends. I doubt he could stop himself now, even if he wanted to.
Why is this so important? Because it means that David might not be making these choices for himself. He is programmed not for his own safety, but to keep the secrets of the very military organisation he's so desperate to escape from. The phone call that initially raises Anna's suspicions is actually one to a plastic surgeon in Florida, someone who can erase David's fingerprints and give him a new face so he can truly get away. Maybe even so that he can live a regular life. It's only when people start to cotton on that he's not who he claims to be that he begins having to kill the family he was previously living amongst. A family he was helping in his own slightly murdery way. David beats up Luke's bullies. He kills Spencer's boss so that he can finally be promoted. He frames Anna's deadbeat drug dealer boyfriend after he sees them arguing, and he helps Laura do the laundry. These are not morally good ways to help people, apart from the laundry.
Go get the rest.
But with whatever the government has done to his brain and his body, maybe this is David genuinely trying to help his fallen comrade's family as best he can.
I'm a friend of the family.
One way we can break it down is with a simple little pie chart of good David versus bad David. Good David over here is a victim. He's an escaped subject of illegal medical experimentation. He knew Caleb and he's trying to help his family. He tells the truth wherever he can and is always polite with company, although he suffers from horrendous resting bitch face when he's left by himself. Bad David is a villain. He lies. He never knew Caleb. He kills people who just happen to be useful deaths for the sake of the Peterson family. If at any point he was refused the chance to stay with the Petersons, he would have become violent and used force. His evil faces when alone are because his brain is full of evil thoughts. So what's the truth? Who is the true David? Well, in a film so wonderfully tight-fisted with exposition, the truth is what we make of it. I think it's probably to be found somewhere between these two, a middle David whose goals and desires are difficult to understand or justify. I have to say I do lean towards good David. There are moments where he expresses small but unnecessary kindnesses that a Terminator certainly wouldn't bother with, trying to explain his motivations or saying that he wanted to do things any other way.
I tried to think of another way to do it. Any other solution?
When his implanted neurological failsafe triggers, he apologizes to each of the parents before he has to kill them.
David, I'm really sorry about this, sir.
What is happening, David? Who are those men?
I really am sorry about this, Mrs. Peterson.
Even what we think are his last words are spent comforting the kids, telling his buddy Luke that he did a good job.
You did the right thing. I don't blame you. Don't feel bad.
So, what are we meant to think of all this? Again, it's up to you, but I think anyone who can have a fun time without being spoon-fed extensive exposition should enjoy this film.
You brought money for all of them. I'll cut you a deal. You can take them all off my hands.
No, I'm going to kill you.
Huh?
It's a quick 100-minute thriller that seems to live comfortably within genre boundaries, but secretly has much more going on under the surface. It's worth mentioning that the two lead performances are essential to how successful the film is, and both Dan and Micah deliver them perfectly. The dark humour, sexiness and tension both actors inject into their roles are so essential to maintaining the vibe of the film. I've loved following both of their careers after The Guest might have performed as a springboard into some of the fantastic films they've both featured in since.
You must have had to beat off a lot of American men to get this part.
With October on the horizon, I would heartily recommend this film as a perfect self-contained thrill ride to get you into the spooky season. Sit back and prepare for bar fights, chunky bass lines, and David in all his glory.
Are you like rich?
The cash is easy to get.
See if you can determine what kind of man he truly is, or what his powers might be. I'd love to generate more conversation about this amazing movie, all of which you are welcome to comment underneath. Just be careful. Anyone who gets too close to the truth might just disappear. Thanks for watching. Adam.